Welcome everybody to the weekly WP Roundup with BJ Keeton. That is me, and every Friday afternoon I go live to talk to you about all of the best WordPress news, tutorials, and resources that were published this last week. So we make a very good community out of the live chat. We have a very good community there. So please make sure that you participate in that. We answer questions. We talk about all of the links that are in the description of this video. We just generally get to know each other. So please make sure that you say hi and ask any kind of questions that you may have. Everyone is very, very wonderful and tends to answer any of those questions that we get. I cannot speak highly enough of that. Welcome to people who have not been here before. If you're new and you've not caught the stream before, what we do is we go through a series of links that you will find in the description of this video and really discuss different resources and tutorials and things that are hopefully going to help your professional life just a little bit, or well, your WordPress life. It may not be professional because it was a hobby for me for so long and I would have loved some of this stuff. I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in already. I see tons of people that apparently England is in the North Atlantic, desolate and damp island right now. It is sunny and beautiful here in Alabama, so I'm terribly sorry, Uncle Social. Dave is early for a change. I'm quite proud of you. Very punctual. Hi, Patrick, Karen, just everyone. Hello, hello, hello. So this week before... well, not even before. Just go ahead and dig into the news. I'm really excited that the major thing is that we had a Divi feature release. Yay! We're super excited about this one. I'm super excited about this one because it kind of combines two of my favorite things that I use anyway. We released the layers view. There's been a little bit of confusion on what this does because a lot of us are used to Photoshop layers and things like that, and thinking about it as being a Z index, and it's not. What this does is give you the option to have an overview of every layer of your page. You can think of it as a sections view or a modules view like that. It works very, very, very similarly to the wireframe view, but you can have it open at the same time as the visual builder. So you're able to navigate between different layers of your page without having to scroll back up and find them. You can do everything that you would want to within that particular view. It is incredibly useful. I was already using it today, just getting used to it, honestly, but it works super well. I'm very, very excited about this one because I use the wireframe view pretty much constantly. I'm toggling in and out of the wireframe view and visual builder pretty much constantly, trying to make sure that I have something in the right place, and this makes it so much easier. That this kind of view makes it where you can see it all at once. I cannot talk about how useful this is for me, and so I know that means that it's going to be even more useful for some of y'all. If you haven't updated yet, this is Divi 4.4. It's the newest point release that we've got, so I want you to go and update. It's super important that you do because you get the new feature. It came out yesterday, and then if you have any questions about this particular feature, Mac is going to be going live on Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern to do a Divi feature overview to really go through what this is, how you can use it, and troubleshoot anything, community questions like that, to answer anything that you've got. Karen asks on YouTube, where do you turn the toggle on? And it is, let me get to the link in here because it tells exactly. To use the new layers panel, simply click on the new layers icon or right click on any element and choose go to layer to locate that element within the layers window. It should be to the right of the X when you open up the purple menu at the bottom. It will be down there for you to be able to open. The way I tend to do it is right click the right click it and go to layer, just because it opens up immediately with a context menu, and I don't often have the purple menu open. I keep it collapsed most of the time. So I like the right click. Anytime I can get something in a context menu, I'm there. I don't know if y'all are the same way, but if it shows up in a right click menu and a context menu, I am 10 times more likely to use that feature than anything else. I've moved recently to Firefox. Well, not so recently. It's been about 6 months now that I've been using Firefox as my main browser. And one of the things that drives me absolutely batty is that I can't right click and paste in Google Apps. It makes me use Control V or Command V, and it drives me crazy because sometimes I just have my mouse and I right click to paste, and I don't even have this hand. I might be reaching for a drink or just being lazy and don't want to lift my hand. It's something like that, and it's kind of ridiculous that it makes me do that. But context menus are very important to me. Is my point, and so having it there with a go-to layer lets you open it up immediately. It's basically the inspect element feature in any browser. So if you do that to see exactly what that is and find it within the code of the page, that's what the go-to layer does on the Divi builder now. Oh, excuse me. I see Bianca on Facebook says that it is still raining there, which is disappointing. I'm so sorry. We've had a few terrible storms here lately. There were some tornadoes in Nashville, which is about 2.5 hours north of me, that were just devastating. And so I hate to hear that. Any kind of severe weather, just raining and storms like that, I'm very ready for sunshine and solidly good weather. So hopefully Berlin will get it very soon. So the second thing, well, let me, before I move on into something else, remember that to get this, you need to update your Divi. Make sure that you do that. Again, it always comes with different security updates and bug fixes for things. You can check out the changelog from your Divi members area or within the update, and so that's something that I want you to make sure that you do to get this. I see Patrick talking about that rain is an everyday thing in the Netherlands, and I think that's something that I haven't grown up with. Like where I'm at in Alabama with is a temperate zone, and so we'll have spurts and seasons of rain, and we may go through drought periods. So I've thought about going to like we've thought about moving to the Pacific Northwest, where it's very similar, that it's a daily thing, and or maybe even in Florida where it's like that. And the idea of that really frightens me because I don't like the rain, and thinking about it being every day pretty much is kind of depressing for me because it's not my paradigm. It's not what I'm used to. So it's just something I would have to get used to. But that's interesting to know that there. I didn't realize the Netherlands got it roughly every day. I see Daryl says making a trip to Alabama in late March, early April. What part are you coming to? I'm really curious. I hear people do that, sometimes come to Alabama on business trips or vacation and things. I'm really curious on where you're going because it's a big state, so I'm curious. And Patrick asks, is there an update for the Divi contact email option form, opt-in form in the make? Because it's very basic, and an option for Honeypot will be great. I haven't heard anything at all about the contact or email opt-in. Not saying it is, but that's one that is completely out of my earshot if it is. I see Karen ask about a time frame for the new WooCommerce modules that she can't wait. I do not know. Soon was the last time I heard that it's in the short list of things that I've heard about. So I don't know when. It's not going to be Christmas based on what I know. So, hey, that's something. But for real, I haven't heard a date or an ETA on it. It's going through QA and dev testing right now. And then I see Daryl's going to Gulf Shores. I went to Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, which is right beside it, for my 10-year anniversary. Actually, it's very, very nice. I really enjoyed it down there. They have an art walk and different things. Like we went in August and it was, or October, excuse me, the beginning of November, and it was very, very cold. And I apparently love the cold beach, so hopefully it'll get a little bit chilly down there. But I wish you nothing but the best down there. It's great. I had such a wonderful time. Um, Donald asks about the mobile menu module, and again, have not heard another thing. Have not heard anything at all about the menu module. Um, Uncle Social talks about the release date. I don't think it's secrecy, Uncle Social, in terms of keeping the release date like a secret. It's that we don't necessarily know where a feature is finished when it's finished kind of company, and because we want it to be absolutely the best and not break sites whenever it's released. That is our number one priority, and number two being the number one, we don't want it to break anything, and number two, we want it to be very, very, very good, easy, and fun to use. So it is one of those things where we don't put anything out until we are confident in it and really believe that it is where it needs to be as the thing. We don't want to put out a minimum viable product. So I understand that being frustrating, because for us, even on the internal teams, when we're looking for a feature and we're looking forward to a feature, we have to adjust sometimes like our content schedule for tutorials and things like that. As a feature goes back into QA, things move around a little bit. So I get it, but that is one of the ways that we hold ourselves to an incredibly high standard by not putting hard dates on anything. And in terms of just where I am in the hierarchy of things, I have no idea about even ETAs, just based on the nature of my job. But it's that one is the mobile menu. The mobile menu and things like that I've heard of, just not in the last little bit. Bianca asks, says Easter's not far away. Can we pick up some nice Easter eggs from ET? Wish I had some. That one I wish. Hopefully there will be something coming, but that one I know nothing about. I cannot give you even a hint or an Easter egg about something hidden. Sorry. The next thing on the news today that I wanted to talk about was the coronavirus, because that's what everyone is talking about right now. It is, except I'm not talking about that. Bear with me for a second. Matt Mullenweg, the creator of WordPress, posted a blog a couple of days ago that was talking about the coronavirus and the remote work experiment that no one asked for. And this is one in a series of articles that I've read. This isn't a series. I've just been reading a bunch of articles here on this particular topic, on how the coronavirus is going to impact the specific way of life that a lot of us are living and have gotten used to. That so many things are interconnected now that we have options and ways to approach different tasks in ways that we've never had before. So what he's talking about here is that remote work is probably about to get a big bump, with people being afraid to go into the office, unable to go into the office, asked not to come in for one reason or another, depending on your location. The distributed workforce is probably going to be growing a lot. And that doesn't necessarily even mean, like, you may not even be able to go into a co-working space. And so I put this under news because I want everybody here to consider what this kind of outbreak, this kind of pandemic, whether or not it is in your area or will reach your area to affect you, how this will affect your industry. And that's one of the things that Matt is talking about, because he talked about how there are Let's see. This is what he says specifically. Seattle and all of King County in Washington State is encouraging companies to let their employees work from home. And given that Automatic, the parent company of WordPress, is already distributed, we're receiving requests from the press and other companies about how to navigate what's turning into a massive global work from home experiment. And that is not ideal on any level, even at a remote friendly company like Automatic. They rely on in-person team meetups, they say, in conferences, really to strengthen these connections, get work done. And for now, Automatic has canceled all work-related travel. That's a lot of travel, y'all. So this is something I want to bring up to you to make sure that your company has a small backup plan for. Not every workspace is able to have remote work. I assume that many of you who are watching this are not employment workers, information workers, being that you're a designer, a developer, somehow a keyboard and desk and monitor kind of worker. So you might have the option to work remotely regardless of what your company's policies are, just because you can have that ability. This is the time to talk to your bosses and your particular companies about this. Not saying that you need to push it or anything, not saying like, I deserve to work from home, let me do this, or I'll get the coronavirus. That's not what we're saying here. What they're talking about is making sure that there are contingencies that don't grind everything to a stop, because there are industries that are about to be massively impacted by this kind of fear, as well as the outbreak. You have things like DoorDash and Postmates, where those drivers may not want to expose themselves to everyone that they walk up to. You might not be ordering as much because you might not want to expose your food to someone who has it. The same for Instacart, the same for Lyft and for Uber and other rideshare things around town. There is a lot of that gig economy. Rover.com and different things like dog walking is what that one is, dog taking care of, pet care. That kind of gig economy is about to get hit really hard, and we don't have any idea what it's going to do. That is a major part of of a lot of people's lives and a major part of our economy and our infrastructure right now, because I get my groceries delivered Instacart. I order DoorDash and things like that all the time because I'm lazy and don't want to get out of the house. It's not that it will destroy the infrastructure of my life or anything, but it's going to change the way that I do things. And that is one of the reasons that I'm bringing this up, is because somehow this is going to impact your life and how you do things. And the one that you want it to impact the least is your job. You want to be able to make sure that you can continue to get paid and do your job, and that everyone at your job can continue to do that, so that things keep moving forward. Talk to your bosses, talk to your companies, find out if you're, find out if you can do that kind of work from home. And if they've not considered it, this is a good time to consider maybe making some sort of exception policies. MB says that their daughter is on a study trip to Seattle and it's total chaos there. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry, not that she's there, but that it's total chaos there. I cannot imagine navigating that right now, especially as a travel study. Patrick says that the Netherlands are spreading fast, that it's that people just flew in with some extra, and that breaks my heart. I hate that. Like, it's growing everywhere. My wife and I have postponed our Italy 10-year anniversary trip. We went to Gulf Shores, like I had mentioned earlier, back in November, and we had planned on going to Italy in May as a big 10-year, like, really celebratory trip, and we're not going to now. We are just going to have to wait and see what happens, especially with it being the #1 outbreak. My goodness, did y'all hear my voice? Woo! But that's terrifying, and that's terrifying, Patrick. Just to think about more coming in. I'm not sure if y'all heard, the cruise that the coronavirus had quarantined for a while. The people that were on that cruise in the Caribbean, they were wanting to bring them to Anniston, Alabama, which is not far from me at all. And that town about revolted because they're not set up for that kind of quarantine, even though they're a CDC offices, I guess. It's a CDC Center for Disease Control Center. Y'all know what I mean. The CDC is located there. There we go. So it was there. It's everywhere. Like even in small town Alabama, we're worried about different things for it. So as it's coming in, make sure that you can take care of yourself and your family. Is basically it. Matt talks about how there are ways that you can approach your bosses about this kind of thing, your work. He talks about he has the distributed podcast now, which you can listen to, which is about remote work, talking about using WordPress blogs and Slack and things like that for real-time chat, using Zoom for video chat, all of that stuff. And, it talks about operating as if everyone works from different time zones, trying to do asynchronous work. Like, there's a lot to do. There are a lot of tips in this blog, which is why I included it here, because it also has resources that you can use to bring this up to your workplace. And if you're the one in charge of this at your workplace, I implore you to take a look at this and see if there are any tools here to help keep your work and your business going smoothly. One of the things that I saw in here that I am incredibly interested in right now is that number 3 on his list. This is still in the Matt article. He says we use our own WordPress blogs called P2 instead of email as the central hub for communication, so people throughout the company can access every team's long-form notes, documents, and priorities. That we're bloggers by heart, so we blog a lot. And he says that it's similar to Basecamp. I've looked at this today. This is the first time I've seen this P2, and it is a WordPress theme that you use like a team chat. Like, it is crazy cool. I want to install this and figure out how this works. I want to use this more. I don't think I ever have anyone to use it with right now, since we use Slack and ClickUp and Asana and lots of different things to coordinate various projects. But this is cool that there is an official WordPress company team chat theme that turns WordPress into a Basecamp Slack style team chat. Like, it's really cool. So I saw P2 doing that, and it's P as in power, the numeral 2 theme.com to see. It's in the second link in the news. But I just thought it was super cool. So, let's see. I'm moving. I've got some stuff. Missed some comments when I was talking about that, so I want to get to it. I'm seeing hi to Columbus, Ohio. Hi, Greg. Tasmia says a new scroll effect. The new scroll effect functionality is awesome. Thank you very much. We are quite proud of that one. If you look under the tutorials, I'll get to those in a few minutes, but if you look under the tutorials, the first 2 are Jason and Donietta tutorials on how to do different scroll effect animations with your background, and they're super cool. Like, the breakaway parallax background just floored me. Jason just knocked my socks off with this one. So thank you. We are having a lot of fun with that ourselves. Bianca says the coronavirus drives people crazy. There are no toilet paper or noodles to buy. I saw today that toilet paper was out in, I think, Australia. There was a town that was out of toilet paper. I have not run into this here. Today's the first time I've heard about that. I'm tempted to go check tonight just to see what is going on with that particular situation. I haven't bought any noodles. I've been eating noodles, I guess, but never thought about dried foods, things like that to put up. Let's see here. Where was I going? I'm going to scroll up just a tiny bit to see. Patrick says regarding Corona, the major people who have it are back on their feet in a week or two. Most people will be. It is while they upped the death rate, you have to look at case mortality rate, case fatality rate, and overall, and the particular kinds of uh, demographics that people are in. One moment. Sorry about that. Family emergency came up right quick. So it's regarding the demographics that they're in: small children, older people, those who are immunocompromised, things like that. The let me see there. I got lost again when I got distracted. Elise says a little behind. What's the good stuff we're talking about today? You joined in on the second link, so we're talking about good stuff. We have a new Divi feature, and that Matt Mullenweg has put out a lot of resources on how to work on getting your team remote, especially when we have this new coronavirus outbreak that people are wanting to do a lot more distributed work. William says remote work for the win. I agree. Working from home is great. I kind of hope I never have to work in an office ever again. Maybe a co-working space, but as far as going into an office same time every day all the time, that is something that I love remote work. I'm loving this so much. Side note, video says tried loading in the new theme template and there's a bug and it won't load. The bug I think has to do with not clearing the cache on the Cloudflare account. That's happened. Submit a ticket on that one. I know that I've personally run into issues with Cloudflare doing that, but I cannot do that. That must go through support. Sorry about that. Cloudflare is so useful for so many things, and then I'll occasionally get locked out of the back end of the website. It's worth it. And William Patton says the WordPress make blogs are P2 themed. Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that the make blogs were, and that it's front end posting. That's really cool. I actually didn't know anything at all about it being front end posting or anything until today doing that. So these are really cool for me to find out. Dynamic product links not working. There's a bug. Whenever I've tried, this is okay in YouTube chat. Whenever I tried this option to link a product in a button using a dynamic function, it crashed. That is definitely something to put in a support ticket for, since it's happening on your site like that and it's a specific thing to when you're putting in the dynamic option. It's a good idea that they'll be able to use the secure token between your website and work that out on your own using your specific site for that particular issue. There we go. So that's definitely a support task. And it could be a plugin issue, that kind of thing, Patrick says, which is always the case. Not always the case, but always one of the things to check out. When that happens, it's always... I usually go through and disable the newest 3 things I've installed if I've done anything or updated to see if that's it. And then, but yeah, that's totally a support question too. I saw someone I've mentioned, I missed it, but there was someone asked about a pop-up builder in the Divi theme. I have heard mention, I've heard tell. I don't know how anything is going along those lines. I don't think that that's out of the question, though. So that's something that may be coming in the future. I don't 100% know, but I know that it has been talked about in the past. So we shall see. I have heard tell of it, and I'm so sorry that I did that to everyone who heard that, which is everyone. So moving forward just a tiny bit, the last thing on news is not really news, but I thought it was cool, so I wanted to make sure I got to it, is that there is a new feature-length documentary on Vue.js, the framework Vue. There's just a YouTube documentary on it, its history, things like that, and what it does, and its impact, that kind of thing. It is just cool that kind of thing exists. It's the kind of stuff that I like, that I really like to see, and lose my train of thought here. When those kind of things come out, I always learn so much about things that I don't know. So, let's see. I cannot undo something I did. But yes. Now, yeah, Patrick, it's 9 out of 10 times that would happen being a plugin issue. So, moving forward, for those of you who are coming in late, who may have never been here before, who might have joined in late, wanted to remind you that we go through the different links in the show from the video description, so make sure that you expand that out. And we've gone through the news talking about the new Divi feature of the layers view, where you can basically have a wireframe and the visual builder up at the same time and navigate quickly between different sections. And then we had talked about Matt Mullenweg distributed workplaces and the new cool Vue.js documentary that I cannot wait to watch. I want to move into the tutorials, and the first two I'd mentioned earlier, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. In that they are new scroll effect tutorials. Donyeta has one that is the beautiful column colliding hero section on Scroll with Divi, which I didn't know what it meant when I read it, and then the demo of it has the columns coming up and combining into one and colliding that way. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. So you can get a download for that JSON file or have the tutorial so that you'll know how to do that on all of your other sites when you want to use this kind of thing, as well as JSONs on how to animate parallax background images with Divi scroll effects, which makes the parallax background move, and then as you get even further, it breaks apart and shows how to animate that in a lot of different ways. It's super cool. They are brilliant people. I call them wizards every single time. Every single time that I see one of their tutorials, because they do things with Divi that always makes me amazed that we can do with Divi, that when I think about it, it's like, man, I'd have never thought to do that. So these people are wizards to me, because any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, and as far as I'm concerned, what they do is magic. So because I cannot distinguish it on how to do it. Uncle Social has a good pun in YouTube, JSON Champagne. I made that one, I think, before, and if I haven't, I've made it in my head. So great minds. We also have an Elegant Themes article on marketing article by Orana on when or when not to accept guest post submissions. This one's one I just wanted to bring up in case people are doing content work for different people or running your own blogs and you run out of time to keep a buffer going. These kind of things are good to know. And they're good to know on how to reject people as well, because you may have offers for guest posts that you simply do not want or need. So that kind of thing is always important to think about. And then there is a great one that I think everyone here should click on, called How to Avoid Getting Scammed as a New Freelancer. And if you're not a new freelancer, that's okay. If you're not a freelancer, that's okay. This is something that you should definitely check out. It's the idea of, there are a lot of red flags out there for people who do remote work, people who do any kind of freelance or contract work. Even if it's not freelance, if you do contract work, there's a lot to be aware of. Things like Freelancer and Upwork and Fiverr, all of these, there are going to be scams on there. And it happens a lot. It happens a lot. It's a lot. So we want you to be protected from that. They talk about that. Freelancer.com published an article about how to avoid it. There are lots of new freelancers specifically who get targeted by this. So if you are just starting out specifically, it's really good idea to check this kind of thing out, because If you've not been in the business for a long time and you don't have a lot of connections, it's easy to fall prey to things that look too good to be true. And the problem is that if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. If it has a super high pay rate on one of those platforms, it says for very easy work, most likely it's going to be a scam of some kind. It's an employer is asking for money first. Never pay someone who is supposed to pay you. That's a pretty solid one. You're not supposed to pay a fee in order to be considered for work. A lot of design contests may ask for high fees with very little chance of getting the work. It is a bad idea to pay for the chance at work. Credible contests are different. You will find lots of credible contests that may have an entry fee to deter people for just the flood of people submitting everything who may not really want to be in it or need to be in that competition. But if it is like a competition for work, not a good idea. Check reviews, check their profiles, check the company. Like if the company asks you to communicate outside the freelancer platform, do not do it. Whatever platform you're on, you aren't protected by anything. And if they don't accept a contract, run away. Always have a contract. This is me doing that Twitter clap thing. These are the emojis between. Always have a contract with your clients. Always. Very important. If you do not have a contract, things will go wrong and things will happen. And one of the parties, you or the client, are going to be taken advantage of in some way. It's just the way it is. It might be amicable. It might be something where y'all work something out and it's a compromise, but it's not going to be ideal. So having a contract sits everything out in black and white as you want it. If someone refuses to sign a contract, don't work with them. They're trying to take advantage of you. Patrick just said on YouTube, ask 50% up front. Absolutely. Asking for an upfront deposit is there is nothing wrong with that. You should not be ashamed of that, and you should be that's a professional thing to do. Absolutely. It's Dave says that the clapping looked funny, that the audio was slightly out of sync at times. And that is that's funny. I bet that does. I'm sorry about that. Biswanath, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Asks if it's possible to make a navigation bar like GoDaddy. Yes. Let me go to GoDaddy here and see what they've got on their main page now. Haven't visited just the homepage in a while. Do you mean the hamburger menu and the domains and things like that? What you would want to do in the theme builder, as you ask, is go into the global header or to the individual project or page or post kind of thing that you're wanting that on, and then make sure that you use the menu module and design it just like you would any other Divi section, and that will be applied globally as the header across the site. If you do it under like global header, global footer. One of the big things that I always tell people when they're working with menus and headers and things like that are that you want to try it and practice on a dev site or a non-public page first, because if you mess up navigation, things go very wrong. And what you mean in terms of the GoDaddy site, when you click the hamburger menu, it brings in a sidebar instead of having a drop down. You can go into the theme customizer. It's under appearance customize. My brain is all of a sudden shut down. I can't see the WordPress dashboard in my mind anymore. But it's that is found by in the header and menu by selecting the menu to be vertical navigation. That is in the theme customizer with Divi. So yeah, you can absolutely make one like this. I believe that there is a tutorial on our site somewhere about how to add the shopping cart on there and things like that, as well as adding the login information. But yeah, definitely use the theme builder. And if you need the drop down like that, like you click on sign in on GoDaddy's page and it drops down a big mega menu. The one that I've used in the past is Divi Mega Pro, and I know that people in the comments here have suggested different mega menu plugins. So the names have left me off the top of my head. I believe one of them might just be Mega, but I'm slightly distracted. I just watched my cat climb into a suitcase on the side of the room. I apologize for that distraction. But it's looking at GoDaddy here, I'm thinking that you probably mean the mega menu and the vertical menu, but so yes, you absolutely can. You just might need a plugin for the mega menu to come down, or you can use CSS to expand on different things on menus. I've done that in the past, and honestly, I'd rather use a plugin than write menu CSS. And I'm going to point and laugh at Uncle Social because of YouTube deciding to change your login name, and that's funny to me. And Judy says regarding the contract work that we were just discussing in terms of getting scammed, don't be desperate that it clouds your vision. Hiring sites, dating sites, sales pages, contests, also in real life, that desperation is the COVID-19 of decision making, and it is. It is. That's a good way of putting it. That if there is nothing wrong with taking a job that pays less than ideal so that you have work and that you get paid. Getting paid a little is better than getting paid none. That, however, that being said, it is by far better to get what you deserve, to be confident and not be taken advantage of. The way that I've always said is that I go into any negotiation with an idea of what I want to get out of it. That if I don't get what I want out of it, I'm not going to make that deal. I have a minimum that I'm going to accept. If I get more than that, that's great. Just this is any negotiation in life and any situation where there's a give and take. And if I can get that bare minimum, I'm going to be okay. And it doesn't matter to me whether I'm being taken advantage of or someone gets more than I do. That if I'm willing to give more to them than other people to get what I want, that's fine. I still get what I want. That is basically how I look at stuff like that. Regarding desperation, that if you're willing to walk away on them signing a contract, there is a high chance of them coming back. If you're like, well, this is, that may be your bare minimum to work with someone is signing a contract. It's okay. Maybe it's a contract that it may say nothing more than we're going to work together and you're going to pay me, but you have a signed contract that says they're going to pay you, where before it's just a verbal agreement, that kind of thing. Judy says, Biswanath asks again, is there any change to the feature in Divi to make a course builder using the Divi builder and theme builder? I don't think there's a chance of us having a course builder with like an LMS in there that's a little more specific than what we're going to do. But we do have some tutorials on how to use Divi with other LMSs. So actually, if you just search for LMS on the Elegant Themes blog, you'll see some tutorials on how to use Divi to make a course building site like that using Divi. Judy says, I just used the theme builder to test a new custom global header to the specs of a very challenging client, and now it's live. It's the first one, but not the last. I love it. Still don't love my client. At least you love something out of the deal. I've been more than impressed with the theme builder myself, and that is as a user and not as an employee. as someone who uses Divi for products and projects before I started working here, I am stoked with all the things that I can do with Theme Builder, and it has made my side project sites so much nicer, so much nicer. So I'm glad to see that you've had that same kind of experience that I did. And Uncle Social, I am so proud of you. I want to give Uncle Social a shout out here because of what he said on YouTube. He's like, I am so impressed with the new GoDaddy website. It looks like they made it in Squarespace, but I like it. I'm proud of you for giving GoDaddy props. That I know for a fact the company has been working very hard at changing the image that they have among a lot of people, and that I've even used the GoDaddy Pro backend that they got from, I think, Liquid Web to manage multiple sites, and it is a very good piece of software. I haven't used the hosting and registration in a long time. I just have one domain registered there because .tv was cheaper there than elsewhere, but it's been good for me for stuff like that. So if Uncle Social gives a compliment on stuff like that, I have to give him kudos for giving kudos. We can all take a lesson from that because he's not a fan, and that makes me happy that you're willing. Daryl says it's managed WP. Thank you, Daryl. I always mess it up. I know that's one of those that I mess up, and I'm like in my head, I'm like, I know that's wrong. But managed WP, I really like that software. The particular web management software that they do, the WordPress management software. Biswanath asks, sorry, I'm just messing up your name, and I apologize. Asked about an animated headline in Divi. You can do that. Jason did it with, let me see if I can find the he did it with a scrolling marquee. You can always animate headlines and things like that by using the animate tab. I'm trying to find what it is. But I know that Jason has a tutorial somewhere on here on how to animate text and do things like that, which would work for a headline. But you can always use a text box with an H1 or H2 or anything in it, and then set the animations on the overall module, and it will do that. You may have to have a separate module for header and then text, the heading and text as well, but you can totally do that. And yeah, there's the marquee tag for HTML as well, Uncle Social. I can't remember if he was using the marquee tag or not, and I thought it was something else, but maybe he was just using marquee. Either way, he designed it and it looked pretty, and it was scrolling, and I was like, wow, you actually used animated text for something cute. Because, I'm used to it being 1997 in GeoCities. And Patrick says a good thing is never go for a low price regarding the freelancing stuff. Never work on an hourly rate. Make a total price and put 20% extra on top for unexpected hours at the end. It's the Dutch sales way. It's good. It's good to do it that way. I have tended to do it by the hour, and the more I do stuff like that, I've moved away from it. It'll be particular people I work for like that. Basically, whenever I'm doing, I've worked with them before, and then I'll have individual projects that just kind of add up a little bit over time, where basically it's like I'll do this project for X amount, and it's just my hourly rate, because then it will take an hour, that kind of thing. I want to move just a little bit further on than we've got those there, and then there are a couple of tutorials on here. Uncle Social, that was an IE only thing? Really? That was Internet Explorer? Marquee was Internet Explorer only? I did not know that. Also, I didn't know it was deprecated, but I also had no idea that it was IE only. Lisan, I'm glad to see you here. I'm glad you love it. I love you for being here. Let me see, make sure I'm looking at all this stuff. I'm seeing there are some more tutorials down here that I'm not going to have a chance to get to. There are really good tips from my WP tips on email blasts. Very important that you look for email blasts. They're still the best way to market to people. Torque Mag, I do want to go into this just a minute. This will probably be the last thing I get a chance to go into because of just time. But before I do that, I want to show you the code.toots plus article on, how to create an Android app without coding. Someone last week asked me about how to turn a WordPress site into an app. So when I saw this article, this is exactly what you need. If you check this out, it's about midway down the tutorial section. This gives you a number of tools that let you design and wrap your website into a native Android app. So please check that out. Honestly, I'm sorry I can't remember who it was that asked, but if that's something that you're still interested in on making the site into an app where you've got it maybe as a PWA and want it to download as native, you can do that. Check out this Toots Plus article on that because it's super useful. It has tons of stuff in there. Lots of places I've never seen before, so it's one I've got bookmarked now to really explore. And then the one I wanted to wrap up with was the how to use your competitor's backlink profile to your advantage. And this is a Torque Mag article, and their stuff is always super top notch, like very high quality. And this is the kind of thing that basically everyone in any niche needs to understand what their competitors are doing so that you can keep up with it. I mean, you need to be able to make sure that you don't get passed. And one of the things about your competitors' websites are building backlinks. They may have different backlinks than you do, which means that there are people who A, have heard of them that haven't heard of you, and B, people who they might have a relationship with and you don't, which is something that I think is incredibly important to know, is to have a relationship with as many people as you can, which, kind of engenders those backlinks being natural and organic. There are multiple tools that you can do this with to find these backlinks. Moz's Open Site Explorer. I love Moz and Moz Pro. They're great. Ahrefs is great. I cannot say how to pronounce that, but that's how I always have. They have a 14-day free trial, or you can outright pay for it. And I've never used this tool, but it is probably the most recommended of any of them for SEO that I've come across. I tend to use SEM Rush for this kind of stuff, Majestic, Cognitive SEO, things like that. But it talks about conducting a backlink audit. It has a link to do that. And it talks about how to actually utilize this information. That's the thing. It doesn't just give you the tool on that you're supposed to be using this. It says that there is, they give you the way to use this. They talk about sellers can reach out to somewhere with emails, be like, hey, I saw this that you had linked to them. I have a blog published on this. I personally don't tend to like getting those emails. They're kind of obnoxious to me, but they work. They absolutely work. Because I don't like using form letters like that. I like being a lot more open and candid and be like, hey, I saw this, thought you might like my article, let's be friends kind of thing. They talk about why securing these backlinks is important. Basically, if they're linking to your competitor, there's a good chance that they can link to you too for some reason. Maybe not for the same thing, but if there's a site that's linking to a competitor, they are likely invested in some other part of the content or services that you create. So I cannot recommend this article enough. You absolutely should check it out. I think everyone can get a little bit of use out of it. That said, I see... can I use the divider to any module column like Thrive? And is there any chance of adding fancy dividers like Thrive has? I'm not familiar enough with Thrive to say yes or no on that one, but what I can say is that we have at the bottom of every section, like if you go in and use the blue section uh, in the visual builder, it's the blue one, you can go into the divider section, dividers under design, and that will give you various fancy things like that with different designs that you can do, different animations and things like that. That may not be what you are looking for, and if you can do it with individual columns, I've not found it and done that before, but I do it with sections all the time. There are ways to manipulate that, and I know that Jason has and maybe Dunyetta too, done some tutorials on the blog about using dividers that way. I'm not sure, like I said, about columns individually, but I know for the sections that you can do that because I do them all the time to make them, and you can do that with the top or the bottom of any section. So maybe you'll be able to find some of the stuff like that you like. Like I said, I know Jason and Dunyetta have some stuff that where they were doing dividers a lot for a while with some really cool stuff that you can do. Also, check out any of the layout packs that we release at elegantthemes.com/layouts, or they're in the library of your website. One of the things that I learned how to do is use those dividers based on the modules that the design team uses. That they use the dividers in new ways that I would have never thought of. So that's the way I do it. And yes, as Patrick says, there's always using CSS to make a custom divider too, using shapes or animations or anything like that. I've used recently the dividers on one of my sites simply as a background shape. Use some negative margins and background shape to do it because that's simple. It was simple and I needed it, and I didn't want to use I honestly, I thought about using CSS to make a triangle, and I was like, why not use this divider? I'm here. And so I did that instead of writing the CSS. So it's fun stuff to experiment with. Guys, that's all the time that I've got. Please make sure that you ring the bell on YouTube, smash that like button. They really, really do help out, help people find us and keep the channel going. I really hope that you enjoyed this. If you're on Facebook, tell Facebook that you want to be notified whenever we go live. The same for YouTube. That's what ringing the bell does. Just because you're subscribed or liked does not mean that you get the notification. You have to tell them specifically. We go live every week multiple times. The next live stream that we have will be Monday at 8 a.m. or nope, Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern, where Mac is going to be going over the new layers view that we have on Divi that released yesterday. So update Divi and get to the new layers view. Try it out before Monday and come to him with any questions you have. Tuesdays, we go live at 3 p.m. Eastern with a Divi use case with Jason or Dunyetta. These are the most useful live streams that I have ever watched personally, because I learn more about using Divi watching them just use Divi than anywhere else. I cannot recommend those enough. Again, as a user and not as an employee, you will learn so much. They're fantastic. And then I go live every Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern with this show where we talk about links, answer questions, get to know each other. And I cannot wait to see you next week. I see Karen on YouTube ask who decided on 6 a.m. Monday. I know Mac is in Europe, and we have a lot of European users, and so with him being in England, that time zone worked out much better for him to be able to do that. So we wanted to accommodate lots of people in the live streams. I see the Biswanath asked, have you ever used Thrive or Brizzy or Elementor instead of Divi? I started personally with Visual Composer and swapped to Divi after that. I still have some sites in Visual Composer. I have some sites in Elementor. I've used Brizzy and I've never used Thrive. I'm familiar with it, but I haven't actually used it. Divi is still where I go to make like my production sites that I'm going to be putting out to people, because in all honesty, I was using it before I started working here because it made sense on how to put things together. It is excuse me, it is just one of those things that Divi works like my brain works. So I think that that's why I love it so much here. And Beverly asks, what's the URL to see Mac's 6 a.m. class? And it's right here. It will be on our YouTube and Facebook pages. So facebook.com/elegant themes or youtube.com/elegant themes. And if you specifically want to get there directly, you can go to youtube.com/elegant themes/live, and it will take you to the standby player before he goes live. So, so yeah, hopefully we'll see you then. I hope y'all all have a magnificent weekend. I hope that the rainy and dreariness goes away. Everyone has some sunshine and some happiness, and I will see you all next Friday afternoon. Bye, you guys.